Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Doug Masterson. I'm going to present to you the Eagle Spur Proposal Workshop. I'm also recording this, so capturing it on there for the presentation tomorrow that I have to be absent for. So I guess I'm also saying hello to you all, and I'm saying hello to everybody tomorrow as well. So I'm glad you made it. Again, my name is Dr. Doug Masterson. I'm the Associate Dean in the College of Science and Technology. I'm also a member of the Center for Undergraduate Research Steering Committee, and my home department is the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. So today, the goals of this workshop are really to demystify this proposal process. As undergraduates, you all have written a number of documents, essays, small reports, lab reports, etc. But you probably haven't had an opportunity to write a proposal, okay? And so it's a different style of writing, and I want to kind of demystify that process and give you an idea of what you need to have to make a competitive proposal. Can everybody see okay with the lights on? Is that all right? Okay, good. So today we're going to try to demystify, that proposal process. I'm going to tell you what makes an excellent proposal, okay, in terms of the mechanics of the proposal. First of all, you got to have an idea. And that's the thing that I can't help you a whole lot with. That's between you and your mentor, okay? But you got to have a great idea if you're going to have a competitive proposal, okay? And what kind of fields do we have? I know you're in biology.
Construction, sustainable development.
Okay, so sustainable development and construction.
Computer
And mathematics. So a wide variety of different disciplines here today. All three of you are going to have very different ideas, I can guarantee you, right? But you can all three have very excellent ideas that are going to be competitive for funding, okay? You need to have an involved faculty mentor. If you don't already have a mentor, you can actually use the resources within the DePoe Center for Undergraduate Research to help you identify a mentor, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well, okay? So we really want you to work closely with your mentor on your project. Not that your mentor is doing the project for you, but we want to have a close mentor-student relationship. We want to help develop that, okay? We need to have some excitement from you, right? We want to know that this is something you really want to do outside the classroom, right? So, is this making your fireworks go off, okay? We really want to know that. And so we spend an awful lot of time looking at the proposals going, is this something that the student really wants to do? That's got to come through in the proposal. If it comes across in the proposal as, this is something I have to do, it doesn't really float up to the top on our list usually. Okay, so we really want to know, is this something that you're excited about? And let me just go ahead and stop real quick and introduce Dr. Marie Danforth, who is the chair of the steering committee. And so glad you could be here, Marie.
Thank you again for doing this.
You're welcome. Yep, we're recording it right now, so it's all right. So again, student excitement, very, very important. Also, the quality and clarity of your writing. You have to write the proposal in a way that a chemist can understand it if you're in sustainability. I don't know anything about sustainable construction, right? I don't know a whole lot about biology. And I became an organic chemist because I don't do a lot of math, okay? So if you're talking about those types of things, you need to write it for a general audience that's educated, So make sure that you have good quality writing and you're very clear. Use the Writing Center to help you with that if you have some issues. That's what they're here for. Also, appropriate budget, okay? So we have a small pot of money every year that we give out, and we want to give it all out, but we want to give it out to as many people as we can. So make sure your budget covers the costs that you need, but don't pad it. If you need $600, then ask for $600. Don't ask for the full $1,000 if really $600 will get you there. Because we do look at the budget and go, they could really do this for $600, and they ask for $1,000. We might still fund you, but we're going to cut your budget. So,
yeah. We do go through the budget for everybody.
We do. We look at it because we feel like philosophically we have to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. And we want to make sure that it's going where it needs to go. So we're going to talk about all of these things today. And please feel free to stop me if you have any questions at any point. I want this to be a very informal presentation, so don't be afraid to stop me. So again, like I said, the idea is probably the most difficult part of any proposal. It's the part, if you came here today thinking you were going to get an idea for your proposal, I'm sorry, that's not how this works, okay? I have my own ideas, but I don't have any ideas for biology, sustainable development, or mathematics, okay? So again, this is the most difficult part. This is the part that you can sit there and, kind of clench your fist and break pencils over sometimes. But the fact that you took time out of your schedule today to be here, I'm guessing you probably already have an inkling of something to do, right? So that's a good thing. You're already there. The idea needs to be original, and it must be your own project. In other words, what are you doing in the project? It doesn't mean that you had to come up with everything. Your mentor has to be involved as well. But if it comes across as, oh, this person's going to be a technician for a graduate student, that doesn't work very well, okay? We need to know what you're going to do, how you helped come up with the idea, how you developed the proposal, etc. Okay? Again, it's got to be something that you're interested in or passionate about. And usually if you're interested in and passionate about a particular topic, the idea is going to be yours, and it's going to come through as being yours, okay? And again, clearly communicated in the proposal, again, for an educated but general audience, okay? So when you're writing, make sure that idea comes across in terms that I can understand, or that Dr. Danforth can understand. She understands anthropology really, really well, but the mathematics or the biology, well, probably the biology you could probably do okay with, but sustainable architecture or whatever the case may be, we're not experts in these areas, right? And it's your job to explain to us as clearly as you can what your idea is. Okay?
And you can just fill it into one or two sentences.
Yeah.
At the end section of it. So it's not like we're supposed to glean it, but we can just pick it out and know that's what you're doing.
That's right. I mean, if I have to work to figure out what your idea is, you haven't communicated it clearly. Okay? These will be on YouTube. We'll send you the slides if you want.
Yeah, they're posted on the website
Yep.
too.
Are they still posted? Okay, good. So we'll don't assume that we're going to understand your idea, right? Don't assume, okay? It's been a long time since I had higher level math, right? So don't assume that I remember all of it, okay? So make sure that you explain that as clearly as you can, okay? Now, where are you going to express your idea on the proposal, right? Well, there's a couple of places. The first thing you're going to provide is a short cover letter that tells us why you are interested in this project. Repeat that with me. Why you are interested in this project. That has to come across, right? We want this to be a personal statement to us as to why you're interested in this project. Now, many of us in the sciences have learned you never use the first person, right? But it's okay here. It really is. It's okay. Okay, so if you've been trained not to use the first person, as I was, this is okay. We want to know, this is personal. We want to know why you want to do this, right? So you're going to tell us about your personal goals and your expectations, what the main project objectives are, okay? And then here you can also list other sources of support for the project, including any research funding provided by your mentor. So your project may cost $1,600, but we only have $1,000. This would be a perfect place to say my mentor has committed the additional funds needed from a grant, a DE account, whatever, corporate sponsor, I don't know, whatever you happen to have, okay?
Because we have that every once in a while for like Eagle Wings. The students will say they need $2,300 to take the trip. We only give you $1,500. Are you going to go 3/4 of the way to Seattle? You can't do that.
That's right.
So we have to know the project is
That's right.
finishable.
That's right. That's exactly right. We have to know that you can finish, right? So you're not just going to get to the end of the $1,000 and go, whoops, I ran out of money, I'm done, right? That's not how this works. So this is where you're going to start expressing your idea, right? This, very important, this is not an abstract of the submission, okay? That's one of the big things that happens. We will get this, we'll look at that cover letter, and it really is just an abstract. And so I'm sitting there going, I have no idea why you're interested in this. I have no idea what lights your fire about this, right? So again, don't make this a abstract. This is where you really want to tell us where your idea came from. You know, it would really be cool. Hey, I had a waking dream about building a sustainable whatever in the middle of Guam, right? I mean, that would be kind of cool. Tell us that. That's where the idea came from. And then you went and you talked to Dr. Puckett or whoever your advisor is, and you talked about, pardon? Dr. Harley. Okay. So, yeah, he's done several of these. Yeah. So, you know, that'd be really great. You know, we want to know how that idea came about and what your enthusiasm is for it. Okay. The other places you're going to talk about your ideas in the introduction rationale section of the application. And here again, approximately 500 words. You've got a certain space that you have to work with. Okay? And so this is going to be where you tell us what your project is and why it's significant. Why is what you're doing significant? That's kind of the key here, okay? What's your question? For those of us in the sciences, what's your hypothesis, right? If you're in the creative side of things, what's your goal? What at the end are you going to get out of this, okay? You're going to provide this in a discipline-specific context, okay, for the project. How you write in geography and geology is different than how you write in chemistry. It's different than how you write in anthropology, probably. We all have discipline-specific ways in which we communicate. Perfectly fine to use those discipline-specific ways, okay? But make sure in this section that you cite appropriate research and creative literature using in-text citations. Okay, and we'll talk about bibliography in a little bit, but one of the big red flags for me, as it is for many of the reviewers, when I see a project come in and not a thing is cited, you made my life really, really easy. I just set it aside. This is not a scholarly pursuit. Scholars cite other people's work, and we recognize that we are standing on the shoulders of others, right? That our work is not done in a vacuum. There are very, very few truly, absolutely 100% original new things, right? We're all building off what everybody else is working on.
But if I could just add, the other part is, why is this significant? Answer the question, so what? You
Yeah.
know, you've got this great idea, why should anybody care?
Mhm.
And I know that sounds a little pessimistic, but that's what you have to show.
You do.
Something.
You have to sell it.
Yeah.
You know,
What
what?
is the contributing difference?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why should a sustainable development be of interest to me? Why should a new mathematical model or computer program be of interest? Or why should, you said Dr. Kareem? So probably tick stuff, right? So why is that important, right? Obviously, you want to have that come across here. So the significance needs to come across. Okay, so these points, keep these in mind. Always, at the end of writing this, ask yourself, did I answer why it's important? Did I put it in context? Do I have the appropriate literature cited? What will advance if my goal is achieved or my question answered? Right? So in chemistry, if a student was to submit one of these, and I'll talk about chemistry because that's what I do, right? Hey, we developed a new molecule that's never been made before. That's advanced, and it might have use in this pharmaceutical or that material or whatever the case may be. We're not asking that you actually deliver the whole moon, right? But it's nice to know that it's kind of pointed in that direction, right? So we're looking at those types of things. What could be achieved if your answer is question? The next section that you'll be dealing with is the mentor section, and the mentor must be involved, okay? By involved, I mean they need to meet with you regularly, have discussions with you about your project, help you overcome obstacles and barriers, be willing to commit time with you on a regular basis, okay? They have to be affiliated with the, I guess it's DCUR now, I need to update this, the Center for Undergraduate Research. You can go to the website and you can see whether or not your mentor has been affiliated. Dr. Harley is, I know Dr. Kareem is, and you're, I don't know. In the math department?
We can check.
We can check. We'll check for you, but you can definitely go there and see.
But if they're not, they can't affiliate after.
And the affiliation process is not a problem. So if you go there and you see that he's not affiliated, just ask him to go and fill out the form to get affiliated. It doesn't take much time. Okay? You will need to complete your city training, your research responsibilities and ethics type training. You will too, but the mentor has to have that. And they can't be affiliated with the CUR unless they've done this. So if they're affiliated, they've done that. Okay? They will have to complete the mentor form, and we'll talk about that. Okay? And they are to give you a statement of support. Notice what I didn't say. It is not a letter of recommendation. It is a statement of support. That's another big thing that we look at. Quite often the mentors submit to us a letter of recommendation. The fact that they're willing to work with you, we assume that they're willing to recommend you for a project. What we want to know is how they intend to support you through the process. It is okay for you to be involved with the mentor while they are putting this together. And if it looks like a letter of recommendation, you can tell them, Dr. Masterson said it can't be a letter of recommendation. It needs to be a statement of support, okay? So we really need from them a summary of how they're going to support you through this project, okay? So they're going to read and sign all this kind of stuff, but what we want to know is how they're going to support you to complete the work, and they're going to agree that if you're accepted, that they'll provide regular mentoring and advice for the project. I hope that they set time aside for you every week, if not more regularly. They're going to sign that they have reviewed and approved the budget. They're going to tell us that they understand that the money will actually be placed into their development account for you to use. You will not receive a check, a direct check, okay? They will understand that they will help you spend the money appropriately, and we'll talk more about that later. They will provide you with professional development opportunities. In other words, they're going to let you know, hey, there's a seminar on this professional development thing, or they're going to sit down and talk to you about graduate school or other types of things that are going to promote your desired career or post-graduation goals. They're also going to understand that if we fund you, that as a student, we expect your results to be presented in some sort of professional forum, okay? Within a year, right? I think within a year, that's right. It's not on this slide, but that's later. So in other words, they're going to say it's okay for you to do this work and then present it at one of the forums. Like the Mississippi Academy of Sciences is a good one. The Undergraduate Research Symposium that we have in April this year, on April 22nd. Right? On April 22nd would be a good one. Those types of venues. We want you to take what you've done and share it with the public, okay? So the mentor has to be involved. Methods and process. This is where you're going to tell us kind of what you'll do to complete your project, okay? Now, for those of us in the sciences, that's the scientific method, right? For those of us in the creative arts, it's a different method. It's a different creative process, something that I'm not terribly familiar with, okay? But nonetheless, we all in our disciplines have processes and methods by which we accomplish our goals, right? So you're going to tell us here how you're going to answer your scholarly question. You're going to describe the creative process, if that's the case, the research design, the methods you'll employ. You're going to give us a description of materials and equipment that is necessary to complete the project, okay? If you got to have a special hammer, you got to have a special hammer. Let us know that you need a special hammer to do that, okay? Very important, what will you do to answer your question? A lot of times students will waste space here where they're talking about my graduate student is doing X, Y, and Z, and it comes across as I'm there to support my graduate student. That's not what we want. We want to know what you're going to do, okay? Again, it's got to come across as your project, okay? Are you going to use a scientific method or creative method? Non-standard equipment, materials, and needs, okay? You don't have to tell us I need a paper and pencil, okay? But if you're in, let's say in chemistry and you need a specific pH probe that's not available, this would be a great place to tell us. If you're building a model for a sustainable development, you need access to a 3D printer, you got to tell us, you know, I'm going to need access to a 3D printer, right? So you can get that kind of stuff. Or, you know, in biology, maybe you need access to certain reagents that just aren't readily available in the lab or something along those lines.
We had a student who went up to the Delta, and she needed a laptop computer,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was able to purchase that. Now, the only thing is if you buy equipment or anything that is, I guess would be equipment as opposed to supplies, it stays with the department. It's
Yep.
not something that you get to keep.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that when we get, no, that's okay. We'll talk more about that when we get to the budget. But yeah, just because you've got money to spend on your project doesn't mean you get to keep everything at the end, okay? And we'll talk about that. That's very important. State laws, okay? So we got to deal with that, okay? Make sure you describe these in an understandable manner. Again, general but educated audience. Not everybody's going to understand the numerical methods that you use in a mathematical analysis or understand all the special terminology that's used in the sustainable development community or understand all the biochemical techniques or biological techniques that are used for a particular assay. Not everybody's going to know that. You got to remember that the reviewers that you're going to have, some of them will be from dance, business, chemistry, mathematics, sustainable development. Yours might go to a dance professor and a business professor and one person that might be more closely related to your area. So again, a broad audience. And so this is really good training for you to learn how to communicate to a much wider audience as well. Okay? You're going to have a section on timeline. This is how you're going to tell us how you're going to schedule your time. Okay? And you're going to provide us a detailed plan for how you're going to divvy up your time during the semester. Again, your time. Okay? A semester is a very short period of time. We expect 150 hours expended over the semester at least on your project. How are you going to achieve that? Well, if you're taking 19 hours or 15 hours or whatever the case may be, and maybe you're working a job too, how are you going to fit in this extra time? Okay? Don't promise us the moon just to make it sound good. Be realistic. Okay? I know that if you're taking 19 hours and you're working a part-time job, you don't have 25 hours a week to be working on your project. Okay? It doesn't exist. Okay? So we don't want you to sacrifice your course time, you know. We want you to do well in your studies as well. This is more important than you think. We do pay a lot of attention to it. We have had examples. I've had examples where I look at it, I'm going, there's no way the student can do that in this period of time. They think they can do this particular project 10 hours a week over the course of the semester. This is a full-time PhD piece of a project. It's not realistic. So keep it realistic, okay?
If I can also mention too, you're supposed to spend 150 hours during the course of the semester, so it can be broken up in different, more
Different chunks.
intensively and then a break off. But we are looking at you spending 150 hours, and sometimes we'll have a person who says they're going to present their paper at the end of February at a meeting, and that gives them, what, a month or 2 months, 6 weeks to do the project, and that means that they would be spending, 25 hours a week on the project. So we look at it from that point of view as well.
Yep.
Is the project large enough to be worthy of the time and money?
Do we have to submit a log of our time?
No, you don't have to submit a log of your time. No.
Provide a detailed timeline?
We need a timeline. Yeah. And one of the things that I like are the Gantt charts. I have yet to see anybody actually submit a Gantt chart. But when you're thinking about your timeline, even if you don't want to submit it to us that way, it's good to do on paper, where you actually have the tasks and the time period at which you're going to do different things. It's a great way to kind of schedule. Okay, so it works really well. Consult with your mentor. What you think takes a long time might actually be a very short period of time, and what you think you might be able to get over with just like that may take a long time. And my graduate student who's here with me today, he can tell you, when we sat down and planned things out when he first became a graduate student and we were writing things on paper, it looked like it ought to be done by the end of the week, right? And it took him 4 years, okay? So time doesn't scale like you think it does, okay? So consult with your mentor because they're the experts in your field. They know that assay might only take 10 minutes where you thought it might take a day. Or, they may know that, what you think can be over really, really quick is going to take you a couple of years. So let's pare back and think about this a little bit more, okay? So consult with your mentor. They're supposed to be involved. And again, be realistic and clear. Don't promise us the moon. We don't look at it and go, oh, this person's going to give us all their time, that we got to fund this person. We look at it holistically. We look at it completely. We look at it realistically, okay? So we want to know that you're going to be able to get your coursework done as well. Yeah?
Does it have to be 150 hours, or if we can achieve our goal in a less amount of time, but still go up to that 150 hours? But say I can get the project done in 60. Does it have to be 150 hours?
We believe that a research project that's worthy of support should, at a minimum, require 150 hours over a course of a semester.
But it can also go over.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it can go over. Yeah, but we think that these projects that we want to fund should be substantial commitments of your time and effort. And we define that for a semester at about 150 hours.
And
Now, again, you got 149. Yeah, come on. We're not keeping a log.
Yeah, that's it. We don't keep track. So,
Yeah.
so you're on your honor.
This is an honor code system. Yeah, but if
You can also sometimes do part of it ahead of time or after, but you have to justify it. Like if you're looking for a particular tick that only breeds
in the summer.
in the summertime, in early August, you can work with something like that as well. But
Yes.
you can't do your whole project before school starts and say, I want to get it done. Because one thing we want you to do is to integrate your research with your other classes, talk to other students about it.
Yep. Yeah, good question. There's a section on expected outcomes. You're going to have a limit of about 150 words here. This is where you're going to tell us what you're going to produce and how you're going to disseminate the results to others. Okay? So, what are you going to produce in the end? What's the big deal, right? Are you developing some type of new technology? Oil's a limited resource. I develop a new pump that can get more out of the ground. Hey, that's a cool thing, right? Not particularly sustainable. I saw you, but that's a technology. That's something that's produced at the end, right? Some new type of scientific discovery, some new way of making something better, right? Some creative work, a sculpture, piece of art that's never been made. Hey, we're going to make a sculpture of something that with a material that's never been used before, so nobody really knows how to do what we're going to do. That's kind of cool. That would be a new thing in the arts. I would suspect, right? How are you going to share your work with others? Are you going to publish this work? Are you going to write something up in one of the undergraduate journals around the country? Are you going to submit it as part of a collaborative piece, that part of a bigger project that your mentor might have? Are you going to go to the Mississippi Academy of Sciences, or is your mentor going to send you to a national meeting? Are you going to go to I don't know, show your works of art down at the public library? That's all dissemination of results, okay? And we hope that you all will come back and present at next spring's Undergraduate Research Symposium, which the date hasn't been set yet, but it'll probably be in April.
And actually, if you do a spring project, you are required, if you're still on campus, that we've written it into the rules.
We've written it into the rules? Okay.
Do you have to present at the research center?
At the symposium, yep.
If you've graduated, you don't have to come back.
Usually every year they have the symposium. I haven't gone for a tracker.
We'd have to worry about that at that point.
The idea is.
But you'd still have to disseminate somehow.
Right.
Yeah. Okay? You must present your work within 1 year at a scholarly venue. Okay, again, the symposium counts, Mississippi Academy of Sciences account, regional and national meetings count, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?
Publication counts too, because we
Mhm.
have a catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
It's the undergraduate
Yep.
journal.
You can submit to the Catalyst now. Yep. So that's all available. Okay. Budget. This area is important, as you can imagine. You'll have something that kind of looks like this. I think the form still kind of looks like this. And you're going to have areas where you can talk about commodities, equipment, travel, salary, stipend. We'll talk a little bit about that, justification, and the amount. One of the things that makes my life really easy, you all should make my life difficult when I'm reviewing these. I really want you to make my life difficult, okay? Because what really makes my life easy is when I look here and I see commodities and no justification. And maybe I see a student go out here, I need pH paper. And I go, why do you need pH paper? I know Dr. So-and-so has rolls and rolls of pH paper, right? That's not really, you need to tell us what you need, why you need it, and what it's going to cost, okay? And don't just guess at what it's going to cost. Talk to your mentor. Things are more expensive than you think, and sometimes things are cheaper than you think, okay? But anything that has the word science in it, for whatever reason, all of a sudden is about 10 times more expensive than you think it should be. A glass bottle I can go to Walmart and buy for $2 is now all of a sudden 20, right? So, don't guess here. I mean, actually look in catalogs, talk to your mentor, get online, that kind of thing. Does anybody know what the difference between a commodity and a piece of equipment is? How would you define a commodity?
Something that in terms of running more equipment is for.
Okay, not a bad guess.
More of like a quality of life. More so than
Another word that I like to use when I think of commodity, I think of consumable. Okay, so something that I use and I can't reuse, or it's not going to stick around beyond the project, that's kind of a commodity. So a commodity in my field would be a chemical. We use it, we transform it, I no longer get that back, right? I've used it, right? A piece of equipment is something that I can use over and over again, okay? But there are definitions that the university uses that distinguishes these two that might be even different from what I just told you. To them, a piece of equipment is something they put a tag on. There are some things in my lab that are actually equipment, as far as I'm concerned, that don't have a tag on it. And they said, well, no, you didn't. That's a commodity. Talk to your mentor to know the difference between commodity and equipment. So, as Dr. Danforth said, there was a young lady who needed a computer to go to the Delta. That is a piece of equipment, and it will receive a university tag, and it will remain university property even after you're done. You can't go, hey, I need an iPad to do X, Y, and Z, and boy, I get to keep a cool iPad. No, we will buy you an iPad if you really need an iPad. You will have complete use of that iPad during the project. When the project's over, the iPad goes back to the university to be distributed to somebody else for whatever reason. So it will be tagged.
And check with your departments, because a lot of times there might be a laptop that you could borrow, or a camera,
Absolutely.
or something like that.
Yep.
And then that gives you more room in your budget, potentially for other items.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't be afraid to talk to your mentor about what's available, okay? So equipment, right, travel. Maybe you need to go to an area where they're thinking about developing sustainable whatevers, right? And, that's going to cost you so much to get there and gas and get back, and maybe you need to spend the night there because it's so far away. All that's legitimate, okay? So, you'd put that there and you would justify it. I need to go to blah, 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 blah. Now, if you tell us, I need to travel to the Jackson Library to use a particular collection, and I go, wait a second, that collection's actually here at Southern Miss, we're not going to fund that, right? So if you said, I need to study children's books, and I need to go to Jackson to do that because they got this book, I'm going, we got the DeGrumman collection, right? Or interlibrary loan. So there are ways in which we can, it's got to really be needed, right? Salary stipend, you are allowed to pay yourself a stipend. It needs to be heavily justified. So for example, you're working, let's say 10, 15 hours a week, and with your course load, you just can't do the research, given your time commitment. So you've talked to your boss, and you said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy myself out 5 hours a week from my job. He's going to let me have 5 hours a week off, but you still got to pay your rent, you still got to pay whatever, right? So you can justify that, okay? And you can put that in up to the $1,000, right? And so we're fine with that. But I want you to also keep in mind that anything that you pay yourself could have implications on your financial aid, okay? Now, you're probably not going to be paying yourself so much that all of a sudden you change tax brackets, all right? But just keep it in mind that it could affect your financial aid, okay? You're going to total it up, and then down below you're going to talk about any other sources of support you need. The total here could very well exceed $1,000. So how are you going to make up the difference? You've asked us for $1,000. How are you going to get the other whatever you need? Okay. Again, be realistic. This is not free money, and again, we pay a lot of attention to this. And so when I see something like so-and-so's asking for a piece of equipment that I know they have access to, scratch that off. Right? We go through and start changing your budget for you. Okay. Don't make us do that. Okay. Again, must be justified. Justify it. No per diem or mileage estimates allowed. It's only the real travel expenses, okay? We're trying to make our money go further, okay? So keep that in mind. And then, of course, indicate other funding sources as appropriate. So other funding sources, again, talk to your mentor. We don't really want to see this coming out of your pocket. So talk to your mentor, talk to your department chair. If you're part of the Honors College, talk to the Honors College and McNair. Talk to them. Talk. I mean, the worst that they can do is just say no, right? And you're no worse off than you are before. Okay? Bibliography. This area has no limit. You can we want you to have unlimited space for your bibliography, okay? But only use it for your bibliography. Don't use it to to extend the other sections, obviously, okay? Use scholarly literature, journals, books, reviewed articles, peer-reviewed journals, that kind of thing, okay? Use databases to find needed references, and I want to remind everybody that the librarians want to help you use the resources that you have here in the library. So if you don't know about how to use particular databases, just go ask. They will more than gladly help you through that process. They're always looking to help students find the information that they need to get their projects done, okay? Make sure you use primary sources, okay? Wikipedia is not a primary source. Wikipedia is a great way for me to find out things about pop culture and all that kind of stuff that doesn't really matter in my life, okay? But if I see in a scholarly work Wikipedia as a reference, that is usually a red flag for me, a big red flag, okay? And so you don't want any red flags coming up when people are reviewing your proposal, okay? So if you use Wikipedia, know that that's going to probably count against you, okay? Now, if you got an idea from Wikipedia and you thought, man, that'd be kind of cool to study, that's okay, but go find the primary sources, right? Okay? Go find the primary sources. Dig into the literature. There is journals and books here on every subject we teach and have here at the university.
So if you were to cite like the physical properties of a molecule, and you use like Wikipedia, do you have to cite that?
I would recommend that you actually go to primary literature. You can find physical properties of a molecule on Wikipedia, but the problem with Wikipedia is it can be edited by the public. So it is peer-reviewed in some sense, but it's not verified. So, you know, to a chemistry student, I would say, look, you need to know the boiling point of benzene. Go look it up in the CRC handbook, and then cite it, if that's something that you had to cite.
To answer your question, if you do use Wikipedia and you scroll all the way down to the bottom of whatever page, it has all of the resources and sources that they use, and then you can go to theirs or the book.
Mhm.
That's
But cite the primary literature. Don't just cite Wikipedia, okay? So we do pay attention to the bibliography, believe it or not. We don't just go, oh, okay, they cited some stuff. We actually look at it. Is that appropriate? And sometimes we find things that are like, what's this got to do with that at all, right? And so that always raises a red flag. There are scholar obligations. So if you get one of these awards, there are certain things that we obligate you to do. And so you're going to sign a student agreement, of which include that you understand that the center will review the proposal and that we can look at your transcript and GPA as available on SOAR, okay, because you got to be in good standing to receive an Eagle Spur Award. You agree to make satisfactory progress on your project and expend at least 150 cumulative hours over the course of the semester. Now, what happens if something happens? You're in the middle of your project and all of a sudden, heaven forbid, you get sick, okay? Call us. Talk to us. We want to work with you. We don't want to punish you. Okay, we don't want to say, oh, well, you can't do it.
Give us the money back.
Give us the money back. We're really good at working with you, but we need to know. And sometimes things happen. Your mentor all of a sudden wins a prestigious award and has to go off for the semester. It happens, right? And so, okay, we'll work with you. But we've got to know. You can't just wait till the very end and go, oh, I didn't get anything done. Then we're going to take the money back. But if you let us know that things are happening, we want to work with you. We want to see this project. We thought this project was worthy enough to be funded. We want to see it done, okay?
And I would say it's probably once a semester we have a project.
We have something that comes up.
Something happens.
Yeah, and you know, there's always things that happen in research. You know, I can think of times when, you know, we've worked on something that all of a sudden it got delayed because you call the supplier and, oh, that's back ordered for 2 months. That's a big chunk of a semester for you all, right? Hey, I needed this piece of equipment or this chemical, and it's the only person that makes it on, or the only place that makes it is on back order for 2 months. Let us know. We'll give you an extension for something like that, but you got to let us know, okay? You're going to promise to attend professional development opportunities that we do through our course, UNV 392, which you will be signing up for. You will submit a 2-page report to us discussing the outcome of the project and telling us how the funds were spent. You'll present your results of the project within a year, and you'll use the funds consistent with the budget and bring any significant changes to the budget to the attention of us. Yes?
Did you say we have to add University of 392 to our
1
schedule?
hour.
It's a 1-hour course.
It meets probably 4 times a year in person, and then there's 4 little lectures that are given online that you do a discussion board. So,
Is that what Dr. Davis teaches?
No. No, that's 197. That's a different 1 hour. Yep, yep.
the goal of 392 is just so we can stay in touch with you and also just give you a little bit of other rounding out
Yeah.
experience.
So this would be awarded, I'm assuming, next fall?
Mhm.
Okay, and then I would need to, could I just add that class come next fall?
Yeah, yeah, real easy to do.
People do it all the time.
Yeah, really easy to do. Yep. You'll also complete your RCR training and IRB if required. Does everybody know what IRB is? It's where you're working with people and primates and not primates, IACUC, excuse me, yeah. But IRB is when you're doing like survey research or things with humans. If you're working with animals, that's IACUC. That's right, and that would also fall in here. With ticks. Yeah, they don't have a spine, right? So anything with a spine, right? So RCR, Responsible Conduct of Research, and we have our own set of modules for you to take. They don't take very long, a couple hours maybe.
Yeah, and it's all online.
It's all online. You take those to make sure that you're trained. You promise to us that you will meet regularly with your mentor. This is probably one of the things that can get you in trouble. So if a mentor all of a sudden calls us up and goes, my Eagle Spur awardee hasn't come to see me and it's midterm, we're going to be in touch with you. And we're going to probably want our money back. Okay, so.
And also by the same token, if your mentor is in meeting with you, you're trying to get in touch with them and they're just not returning emails or making appointments with you, let us know too.
Absolutely. Yep. Let us know. Communication is the key here. Okay. You're going to promise to conduct your research in an ethical manner. You're going to preserve your research record. So if you put together a research notebook, like you do in the sciences, that is a preserved record that needs to stay with the university. Okay. That's part of our policy here at USM. So you preserve your research record. And you're going to, again, attend these Center for Undergraduate Research workshops that we do. Something kind of like this today. Okay. You'll help participate. Funding. Let's talk a little bit about the fun stuff. Our funding rate has been around 50%. So you've got about a 50-50 chance of getting one of these, okay, if you put in a good idea. Now that may sound like not very good, right? You all are thinking 50%, that's an F in all my classes, right? But in my world, a 50% funding rate is phenomenal, right? I compete in things that are like 9% funding rate, 8% funding rate. You know, you have to start wondering, am I insane to keep submitting to these things? I mean, you know, a funding rate of 50% is great. You have really good chances. And if you don't get funded your first round, submit again. We actually have a much higher success rate for those students.
Perfect.
Almost perfect. Not quite, but
Not
pretty
quite. I
close.
think there's 1%.
Yeah, but usually on that second submission, I mean, it comes through and it's usually pretty good, okay? We do have more good ideas that come to us than dollars, okay? And so we rank everybody, and we kind of go through till we run out of money, okay? So understand that if you don't get funded, it doesn't mean that your idea wasn't worthy of support. It just means you didn't make the cut with the money that we had that time. So resubmit, okay? We don't want to discourage anybody. The money will be deposited in your mentor's DE account. This is not going to come to you as check or cash. It will go to your mentor's development account where they will help you spend the money. Okay, your 2-page report must include a statement on your expenditures, like I mentioned, and you and your mentor are responsible for spending the money according to state law. Very important. And it's complicated. Talk to your mentor. You can't just go to Office Depot and buy a printer cartridge. You can't, because we have a state contract. You have to buy it through our state contract vendor. Okay? So anytime you're asking, can I go talk to your mentor? Okay? Because what seems like a no-brainer may not really be a no-brainer, okay? Proposal evaluation, let's talk about this real quick. We've got a score sheet, and you want to be up at the high numbers, right? This isn't golf, okay? So we're going to look for how complete your proposal was. If you leave things blank, that makes my life easy. I don't have to do much, right? Because low numbers aren't going to get funded. We're going to talk about how original your idea was. We're going to talk about how you define the problem. We're going to talk about your potential to contribute to the body of knowledge. We're going to talk about the quality of your literature review, the appropriateness of your research methods. Is the question that you have and the method you presented compatible with one another? Are the methods going to give you the answer that we're looking for, right? The practicality of the budget, the quality of the writing, your grade point average, and your mentor support. All these things come into play as we're looking at this.
The GPA. It's not like if you have a 3.9, you're going to get a higher grade than if you have a 3.3.
No, but you got to be in good standing, right? So
2.0.
2.0, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we got to make sure that you're in good standing, right? So we do look at it, right? So Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
You said that this lecture also the recording will be posted on YouTube?
It will be. And I will give Miss Joanne Johnson the link, and she will send it out to everybody.
Joanne can be your best friend, by the way.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
She knows IRD, she knows how about the money, so.
She knows everything. She makes our life easy. All right, well, I thank you all for coming today. I look forward to reading your proposals. Have a good afternoon.